Hi, I'm Neil from Belmullet Walking Tours, and I'm just up here up to the north of Belmullet here, beautiful part of the country, overlooking Ben Wee Head behind me here. The colours ever changing as the sun comes and goes with the clouds and so forth. It's a remarkable landscape and absolutely beautiful. Now, most Irish people will have heard of a well-known songwriter called Percy French, and he wrote such well-known songs as Are You Right There, Michael, Slattery's Mounted Foot, The Mountains of Mourne. But what a lot of people don't know is that he also wrote some poetry. And one of the poems I particularly like is a poem called The Four Farrellys. And in this poem, he basically talks about the character of the different personalities that you would find, or that you would have found around the country in the late 1800s. And the poem is called, as I say, The Four Farrellys, and it goes something like this. In a small hotel in London, I was sitting down to dine when the waiter brought the register and he asked me if I'd sign. And as I signed, I saw a name that set my heart astir. A certain Francis Farrelly had signed the register. Now, I know a lot of Farrellys, but out of all the crew, I kept a sort of wondering which Farrelly were you. And when I'd finished eating, I sat back in me chair, going round me native land to see which Farrelly you were. Were you the keen-eyed Kerryman I met below Kenmare, who told me that when Ireland fought the odds were never fair? If Cromwell had met Sarsfield or Owen Rue O'Neill, it's not to Mr. Gladstone we'd be looking for a repeal. Would have Ireland for the Irish, not a Saxon to be seen, and only Gaelic spoken in that house in College Green. Told me landlords were the devil, and agents 10 times worse, and every type of government for Ireland was a curse. Well, if you're that Francis Farrelly, your dreams have not come true, but sláinte, Francine, for I like a man like you. Are you the Francis Farrelly that in me college days for walking round Dunleary Pier had such a curious craze? Do you mind them lovely sisters, the blonde and the brunette? I know I've not forgotten, and I don't think you forget, the picnics at the Dargle and the others at the Scalp. Me heart was palpitating. Hers wasn't, not a palp. Well, they say you married money, and maybe you were wise, but the gold you loved was in her hair and the diamonds in her eyes. Well, I hope that you married her and that you're with her yet. 'Twas some militia officer that married their brunette. Well, the blonde one always loved you, and I know you loved her too. So me blessings on you, Francis, and the blue sky is over you. Or were you the Francis Farrelly that often used to say he'd like to blow them papishes from Derry's walls away? The boy that used to bother me the Orange Lodge to join, and thought that history started with the Battle of the Boyne. I was not always with you, Francis, the Pope is not my friend, but still I hope he dies, poor man, without that bloody end. And when you quit for care yourself and get to kingdom come, there's no use teaching you the harp, you play the orange drum. Och man, you were a fighter, of that I have no doubt, for I saw you in Belfast one night when the Antrim Road was out, and many a time that evening I thought that you were dead, the way them papish paving stones were hopping off your head. Well, if you're that Francis Farrelly that came from North Tyrone, here's looking at you, Francis, but leave the Pope alone. Or were you the Francis Farrelly I met so long ago in the Bog Below Belmullet in the county of Mayo? The long-legged freckled Francis with the deep-set wishful eyes that used to take their colour from the ever-changing skies, that put his pipes together as I sketched a distant scene and played me Planksty Kelly and the Rakes of Inishkeen, and told me in the autumn he'd be heading to the west to try and make his fortune and send money to the rest. And would I paint a picture at the place where he was born, and he'd hang it up and look at it and not feel so forlorn. And when I had it finished, you got up from where you sat and said, well, you're the devil, and I can't say more than that. Well, if you're that Francis Farrelly, though your fortune may be small, still I'm thinking, Francis, that I like you best of all. And I never will forget you, though it's years and years ago, in the Bog Below Belmullet in the county of Mayo. I'm Neil Doherty from Belmullet Walking Tours. I hope you enjoyed the presentation.